Guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about don't give up medical coding school even before you get started. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. Okay guys, so I got a comment from a viewer, and I'm going to start off by saying this thing first. A lot of people comment things, and I look at the comments, I watch the comments very carefully, and this comment stood out to me today because it made me wonder how many other people are struggling with this feeling that this viewer is about, like questioning and wondering if they should quit or if this is actually for them. You're never going to know if medical coding is for you until you get into the field. It's just like attorneys who go to law school. They don't know if they want to be a lawyer. Some know they want to be a lawyer and others don't know. And so they just go to law school, and then by the time they get done and they get in the real world, and then some of them discover that they like lawyering, and others think that this was what they wanted their whole life, and now that they're in it, they just don't enjoy it. The key to anything in life and having any kind of joy and passion in your work, passion so much in your work that you don't feel like you're working anymore. I personally have felt like I have not worked since 2014 because I have a passion for this field. But to get to that feeling, to get to that passion and that motivation to do your work, it takes time. It takes patience. You know, they say love is patient, love is kind. And to be kind to yourself when you're going through these things is very important. You're not going to understand everything right away. Nothing is going to make sense to you until you get into the real world. And even when you get into the real world, it's still going to take time. I didn't know until I was 6 years into my career that this was a career and not a job. So I want you guys to take a listen to this comment, and then if this is you, if you are in this situation where you're in medical coding school and you're just questioning everything now, you just don't know, you've been hearing about, you know, the jobs and all this good stuff and everything else that you have to learn, and you feel like you're running into a brick wall. I want you guys to hear my message today, because obviously if you came here, this message is going to be for you. So hopefully this will help you. Keep in mind, I am very blunt, and I'm not going to apologize for that, because I think for some of you, you actually need to hear the truth. And I am a complete stranger to you. I have no vested interest in your own personal life. That's only on you. All I can tell you is that I'm a veteran medical coder. I love what I do, and I'm going to give you all the truth. So here's the comment. The comment says, "Hi Blue, I just started taking courses in terminology and anatomy, and I'm not sure if medical coding is the field for me. I'm 20 years old and I'm new to everything. Any advice?" Here's the thing. Whether you are 20 years old or whether you are 55 years old and you're starting to study for medical coding, everybody has this feeling in the beginning, like, what the heck did I just get myself into? Even me, when I went to medical coding school, I still had that feeling like, what did I just get myself into? Because I had no idea that I was going to have to learn medical terminology and anatomy and pathophysiology. Like, why would I have to know all that? It's important because you have to be able to understand what it is that you're reading. If you don't understand what you're reading and you're just looking for terms and not really kind of putting them together, then it's going to make it a lot more difficult. You're a lot more prone to run into incorrect coding or upcoding or undercoding because you just don't understand. So taking the time to learn medical terminology, learn anatomy is going to be very important. It is learning a new language. These terms in medical terminology are made up of Latin and Greek words. So it is completely like learning a new language. But the important thing is, once you get this down, all you have to do is start building onto that knowledge. We have to know what doctors know while never having gone to medical school. There is no truer saying than this. And I've said this since the beginning of my channel because it's true. You know, doctors get 10 to 15 years to be a doctor. This means 10 to 15 years of looking at medical terms and anatomy and the breakdown of the body and everything else. We get 9 months, 12 months, or 18 months. And if you're in a fast-paced medical coding program, that makes it even worse. Because sometimes when people are going through these little fly-by-night 6-month courses or 4-month courses, or heaven forbid the 2-month courses, you know, it's a lot of information to pack into just a certain amount of time. So don't be impatient with yourself. It takes repetition. The key to adult education is repetition. And the best way to do that is, number one, start getting yourself involved with the note taking. Make your own flashcards. Well, Blue, I don't want to write flashcards. Is there anything else? Is there any decks that I can buy? Yes, you can buy flashcard decks for medical terms. I was in a tutoring session last week with a lady who actually found a whole deck of medical terminology flashcards at her local Goodwill. So, hey, if you can find that stuff there, that is awesome, because a lot of times, you can save some money by going there. People donate that stuff all the time. I myself have gotten many books. I've gotten cardiology books. I've gotten medical coding books from the Goodwill as well. So you never know what you can find in the Goodwill. I love thrift stores. But that was one of the things that she found. I was like, that is really awesome, because it doesn't take a lot of money to study. It doesn't take a lot of money to do research, because you can find a lot of things for free on the internet. YouTube is a great place to kind of supplement and augment your studies. If learning from a book is a problem for you and you're starting to feel like this is not for me because I feel bored in this, that's your cue that your brain is saying, hey, we need another stimulus. We need something else to help us to learn. Because believe it or not, you want to learn. Everybody wants to learn. The body is naturally, it has that ability, that innate ability to always want to learn. Why? Because we have, in caveman times, you had to learn, how to build a fire, and you had to learn to protect yourself. So the body was always trying to learn. It's the same thing that we do now, except now we have buildings and we don't have to build fires, to keep ourselves warm. But if you can do that, that's a really good skill to have, though. But anyway, you can learn. Take advantage of this. So YouTube has a lot of really great channels, and it's not just medical coding channels. It is like channels for nurses or doctors or medical students, and they have medical terminology, they have anatomy, they have all kinds of other videos. I have recommended other channels before that they have dissections and things where you can really see what's actually happening. And so if you get bored with a book, then you need to turn to videos. Crash Course is a channel on YouTube that I recommend. Now, I recommend this channel because it has helped me. They have Crash Course Anatomy and Physiology, and they also have a Crash Course for biology as well. So when you're in patho, that's that's a really great channel to get into. But when you watch these, they have whole lists of these playlists that they have for anatomy and physiology, and you can just sit and listen to Mr. Hank. I love Hank. But you can sit and listen to him, and just listening and watching the animations. He's really entertaining. These are very short videos, maybe 10 or 15 minutes long. Some are 8 minutes, but it's really quick and it's good, and it's just this little compact of information. And so if you can do that and incorporate that into your time when you're studying, or when you're out, or when you're at work and you're on your lunch break, you can watch those videos on YouTube or just listen to them. When you're driving to work, you can listen to those videos. A lot of people have Bluetooth in their vehicles. If you don't have Bluetooth, obviously you can use your cell phone and just hit play and just listen to it like you would the radio. But if you have that, then you can just listen to it, and the more repetitiveness that you have, the better off you'll be. And it will start to make the book make more sense because you have been listening to something, or you've been watching a video. So it's all about changing the way that you learn. Learning does not have to be boring. That's the thing that I have always thought to myself, because I enjoy learning. I like learning. I like reading. As you can see, I have a lot of my books here. That's not all of my books, trust me. I have books everywhere because I like books. But that's just me. Growing up in the time that I did, I read. I mean, I didn't watch TV. We had a TV in the house, but I was always reading, and I read and I read and I read. So there's a lot of young people that grew up in this newer generation that, it's all about video games and phones and things like that. So all the things that I didn't have growing up, as far as the video games and the phones and stuff like that, Nintendo was out. But I wasn't into Nintendo. I was just like, okay, I want to read a book, you know. And so I know that it's difficult now to kind of like, okay, we have to learn from books instead of, you know, being on our phones. But you can use technology now to help you, you know, going through those videos on YouTube through Crash Course. I recommend, you know, at least listening to them to kind of help you to get motivated to study. You know, it's all about your own self-motivation. Being 20 years old and I'm young and I'm new, it doesn't change the fact that you can still be motivated. And I see a lot of, and it's not just young people that are not motivated. I see older people not motivated too. They want to, but they don't have that fire. Let's get that fire, guys, because I see a lot of people running around wasting time because they want to sit there and they want to overthink about all of these things. And oh, what if I can't get a job? Are you done with school yet? Have you taken your medical coding certification? Well, no, but I heard. No. We need to start working on one thing at a time, because the people who get overwhelmed are the ones who are thinking way far ahead. You have nothing to do with way far ahead. You need to be present in the here and now. Don't start worrying about things that are going on down the road. You need to look at what you got going on here. If your thing is that you are in anatomy, then you need to be focused on anatomy. You need to be doing 20 hours per week of study. Oh no, Blue. I work 40 hours a week. Yeah, it is possible. I've done it. And trust me, I work a lot more than 40 hours a week. I have a full-time job, but I've got all these other things that I got going on. And if I can do it, I know that you all can do it. Well, no, Blue, I have a family. Doesn't matter. I have plenty of people in my audience who are motivated. And they say, well, Blue, I have a small child and I have a spouse and I'm going to do this because I'm doing this for them. You have to find your why. That's what's going to help drive you and get you through the times when you feel like this person where, you know, you're questioning, you know, do I want to do this? Don't worry about that. Worry about what you got in front of you right now. Learn anatomy, learn medical terminology. Do your best that you can. If it's not sinking in, then you need to find other ways to learn. Because again, this is just a small part of what you're going to have to come up against, right? You still have your coding guidelines. You still have medical reimbursement. You still have the code books, ICD-10-CM, CPT, and HCPCS. And if you're going for those inpatient credentials, ICD-10-PCS. That's a lot of books you got to master, but it is possible. And learning during this time, so just so that you can get through to get your certification, it's the beginning of all your studies, because you're going to have to continue to study. I am a 13 plus year veteran already, and I still have to study. There are things that I still have to go over and remember and refresh and recall. And there's a lot of things that I have to do in order to help myself. When I first started, my biggest nemesis was cardio. And learning about cardio is not an easy feat, okay? What finally helped me learn about the different heart chambers and what goes in and what goes out and how this and the atria pumps and all this other good stuff, right? Learning about those muscles and learning about the contractions and the heartbeats and everything. What helped me was actually writing out a story and learning about those things and how did the processes go. So that helped me to be able to recall all of that. That's my brain and my body connecting by doing that kind of activity, all right? So there's a lot of ways that you can make learning fun. On my Patreon channel, I'm going to plug my Patreon channel because I do a lot of the coding exercises there that I make up. I do 10 question coding quizzes. I have done word searches and crossword puzzles to help with medical terminology. Again, with this light. I've done those things in order to help people to learn medical terminology and anatomy. So I think they're fun. That was how I learned medical terminology. My mom used to put those together for me, and she would help me when she would help me to study. So that was how I learned. And that's what I'm passing on to you guys now. So if you're interested in joining my Patreon channel, right now the minimum pledge is $10 per month. And I think that's a good deal because you get access to all those things. And once a month, I do have a study hall. So it's going to be at the last Saturday of the month, which is the 24th of September at 3 o'clock Central Standard Time. I come on for an hour. We do a Zoom session. If you have questions, you can come in, you can listen to other people have their questions. And so that, can, maybe if you want to do something like that, that's just always an option, but that's what I do for my Patreons on my Patreon channel. So that's something that you can, look at if you're interested. The website address for Patreon is in the description box below. But yes, you have to incorporate different things. And just because it's not always exciting all the time to learn this doesn't mean that it's not going to get exciting. All right. It will get exciting, but you have to go through those times when it gets a little rough, and you have to stay in the proverbial fight of it all. You do, because there's going to be times when you're going to sit there and you're going to question yourself, like, do I really know? Like, what is happening here? But if you stay in it, it's going to make you a stronger student. It's going to make you a stronger coder, and it's going to set you up for success if you're willing to take those punches and keep the proverbial punches, of course, and keep going. Because the people who just get knocked down after one and then, oh yeah, that's it, I'm done. Okay, well then this field wasn't for you to begin with. But if you can run away from this that easily, just having a little bit of adversity, and it can cause you to run away just like that really easy, you're always going to run. You're always going to run. You're going to run from everything that you try. And you're going to find some reason that you don't want to do this, or this was too hard, or this or this and this and this. All kind of excuses. Stop the excuses, folks. Stop the excuses, because that's not going to set your life up for success if you just keep running and you keep wandering around with no purpose. Have a purpose. Know your why. Know why you want to do this. Why do you want to be a medical coder? Well, Blue, I want to work at home. Okay, if you want to work at home, great. But here's the thing. How many other jobs do you know that you work at home, right? You can be like a telemarketer and all that stuff like that at home, right? But it's a different kind of mindset and mentality that you have to have when you work telephones, right? Or when you do any kind of sales stuff versus, getting with medical coding and then learning it, and it's always new. There's always going to be something new that you have to learn. And that can drive people, instead of a job where it is a job. That is a job. Something like that, sales and all that, those are jobs. There's some people that are very passionate about their sales, yes, but there's that is a job. That is something that you do for money. This medical coding is a career. The mindset is completely different. So again, if you want to be, well, I don't know, after just a little bit, think about that. Because you need to think about it and do something about it now, because it's going to be a long journey. The journey of 1,000 steps begins with a single step. And if you are already backing down that easy, you're always going to back down that easy. Why did you get into this? Blue, I want to live in a nice place. I want to have a nice clothes. I want to have nice shoes, and I want to, be able to take trips. You can do that. You can certainly do that with this, but it takes work. This isn't going to be handed to you. This isn't going to be easy for you. But if you're willing to go through all of that, if you're willing to take the punches and make yourself stronger and make yourself more assertive as far as like what you know and learning and things like that, if you can master all those things, you are in for a wonderful career. People ask me, why don't you talk about the good things about medical coding? I do talk about the good things about medical coding all through my videos. I do. But I also know that this field is not for everybody. There's going to be people who think that they can do it and then they don't want to study. You have to study. That's part of this. And I've heard, well, Blue, I don't like to read. That's all this is. That's all medical coding is reading. So again, it takes you to get in there, stay in the fight, do your studies, do your research, change the way that you're learning. Don't make it all so boring, and don't have the attitude of this is a chore. A lot of you are treating this like it's a chore. It's not a chore. You're learning. This is something new. You're not going to know everything. And if you're not humble enough to understand that, and you think you got to know everything right out of the gate, maybe because you're coming from the medical background, or maybe because, you think that this is easy and you don't know it. Oh, and then you want to give it up. That's not the way to be, guys. Stick with it. Do something different for a change. Don't always run when you think that it's boring or when you don't find any joy in it. Because if you stay in it, you will find that joy. That joy will come to you. And trust me, I was there. I was. I wasn't there in the situation like this person is, but I did question for a time, am I doing the right thing? But it was the environment that I was in. It was my supervisor, my micromanaging supervisor that I had that was making me question things. And then when I understood that and realized it, I never questioned myself again, because it wasn't me. It was the micromanaging supervisor. I got out from under her, and I was fine with that because it presented other opportunities to learn. All right? So keep that in mind, guys. You're always going to run into something that's not going to be the most fun. There's things that I don't like to do in this career field, like as far as like meetings and stuff like that. I don't like to do meetings, like attend meetings that I think could be email. I don't like to attend those, but it's part of the work, okay? And I'll deal with those things all day long, because then I get to have positive things happen, like when my providers have their aha moment, when I get to go to conference and meet people, when I get to have other opportunities to be an educator for adults. I enjoy that. That gives my life meaning, right? And being here with all of you on YouTube and being able to share all of my knowledge here and on Patreon, you know, that fulfills me. And again, I haven't been working since 2014, but I didn't get here without having to go through those hard times. So stick with it. If this was what you needed, stick with it. You'll get through this. You'll find something fun about it that you like, and then you'll start to enjoy it. But you never know if you quit now. So do not quit. Get back in there and get back into studies. That's all I got. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. If this video helped you, please like it, subscribe, share. And if you are studying and you want to use these videos as your accountability time, and you've studied today, leave a blue heart in the comments so that way I know, hey, this person is studying, and I'm going to be rooting for you, because that's what I do. All right, so I will see y'all on the next video. Bye.